Tien Cong Tran, Ph.D. Heidegger's Other Beginning. Chapters 4-5. Chapter 4. Being. Section 1. Being, time, nothing, world, event. Time, nothing, world, event are the names of being. 1. Time, being and time, 1927, can be counted as the start of Heidegger's journey to being. Why time? Heidegger asks the question about the meaning of being. Here meaning indicates disclosure. Heidegger sees time as disclosure of being. It is possible to say that at this time Heidegger is still under the influence of traditional philosophy. In Greek thought the presence appears as being. Being is the presence of beings. The title Being and Time expresses time as meaning, disclosure, truth, of being. In another image, time is the horizon in which being is understood. Being and time is an uncompleted work. In its completed part, temporality appears as meaning of being of Dasein. In its completed part, time does not appear yet as meaning of being. Division 3, of Part 1, time and being is announced, but not written. Time and Being, 1962, says that there is time, there is being. Being is not a being, time is not a being either. 2. Nothing, here nothing does not indicate without any being, thing, or empty. Here nothing indicates it is not a being. Therefore nothing is the name for something which is different from a being. Nothing is another name of being. The name nothing expresses the aspect of not a being or different from a being of being. In Being and Time Heidegger talks about anxiety as attunement of nothing. 3. World. In Being and Time Heidegger calls man or Dasein as being in the world. Heidegger notes two meanings of the term world. The world denotes the totality of beings. This is the usual meaning of world. Heidegger also uses world to name being. In Being in the World, world names being. Being in the world does not indicate beside or with beings, including human beings, even though it does not deny that fact, but it indicates in being. Heidegger talks about world as being in the origin of the work of art. There is a fight between earth and world. In the thing or when being appears as the fourfold, world is also used as a name of being. 4. The event indicates an affair or something which happens. Heidegger uses the event to name being. Being is not something stable, or relatively stable, as a being. Being is an event and always is an event or a happening which is happening differently at each instant and at each place. So the event expresses the characteristic of the changing happening of being. The event expresses the happening of being. It happens from itself. It does not belong to beings, it is not a quality of beings. Therefore it cannot be seen or thought from beings. For example, looking at a table to think out the idea table or to think out the causes of the table, material cause, formal cause, efficient cause, final cause. The event happens and it happens in man. Why is it so? There is man who realizes or receives the event so that there is the happening of the event. Man is the foundation of the happening of the event. There is no event outside man. If it is far from man, the event is not the event anymore. In Contributions to Philosophy, from the event, Heidegger talks about being as the event. Being as the event is a turn in the history of being. It is due to the event that Heidegger is able to have a deep insight in the history of Western philosophy and to open the door of the future thinking. However, the event still does not express the portrait of being. In Contributions to Philosophy, from the event, Heidegger talks about thought as restraint and waiting, not yet expressing because of waiting. What is the image of being? There is hardly the answer. How can being be expressed in language? The whole Western philosophy failed. And every day we do not see being. Heidegger's effort in Being and Time, 1927, meets an impasse. In Being and Time, being appears as the world and the world happens as significance. Significance does not express the image of being. In The Origin of the Work of Art, 1935, being again appears as the world and the world happens in the fight between the world and the earth. The world does not express the image of being. We talk about being as nothing, but nothing does not express the image of being. Even being as the event does not express the image of being. Section 2. Being, the fourfold. When being is said to be time, nothingness, world, or event, it still is vague, mysterious, far from man. Only until the thing, 1949, being or the event appears to Heidegger as the fourfold. Here being has a clear image. This is the result of many years of Heidegger's thinking. Before the fourfold, Heidegger talks about silence, restraint, waiting, the nameless or the terms as world, nothingness, clearing, region, the event. In the thing appears, as a flash of lightning, the word fourfold. The fourfold is the name that Heidegger has waited for a long time, more than 20 years from Being and Time, 1927, till the thing, 1949. A thing is the unity of a piece of material and being as the fourfold. A piece of material appears to man as a thing because at the same time with that appearance is the appearance of the fourfold. Without the fourfold, without a thing, without material, without a thing, and without man, without the fourfold and without a thing. The fourfold is the earth, the sky, the divinities, and the mortals. Being or the event or the fourfold appears to man. The question is, where is the appearance to man? This is an important question, for it is the beginning of the other beginning. The nearest to man are beings. Man uses beings every day. Let's look at man's use of beings to see if being appears in it. In the thing, Heidegger takes a jug for example. The jug is a thing as a vessel. It is the holding that makes the jug as a jug. What does it hold? The jug's bottom and sides do not take the task of holding. It is the empty space, the emptiness, the nothing of the jug that is what the jug is as the holding vessel. The thingness of the jug is not in the material that makes the jug but in its void. How does the jug's void hold? It takes and keeps the wine that is poured in. But the holding, taking and keeping, is for the outpouring. The outpouring is the giving. The holding and the outpouring reside in the giving, in the gift that is outpoured. The jug's jug character consists in the poured gift of the pouring out. The gift can be water to drink. The water is from a spring. In the spring the rock dwells, and in the rock dwells the lumber of the earth. Talking about the earth is talking about water, rock, trees, flowers, fruits, and animals. The earth bears flowers and fruits. The earth receives the rain and dew from the sky. The sky is the sun's path, the course of the moon, the glitter of the stars, the year's seasons, the light and dusk of day, the gloom and glow of night, the clemency and inclemency of the weather, the drifting clouds and blue depth of the ether. In the gift of the outpouring the sky and the earth dwell. The sky and the earth dwell together and are in harmony with each other in the jugness of the jug. The gift can be wine to drink for men. It quenches their thirst, relieves their fatigue and enlivens their soul. Men are mortals. Thirst and the quenching, fatigue and relieving, enlivening remind men of their transitoriness and mortality. The gift can be wine as the consecrated libation for the immortal gods. They are the messengers of God. In the outpouring of the jug the divinities, God, dwell. In the gift of the outpouring stay the earth, the sky, the mortals, and the gods. The earth, the sky, the mortals, and the gods are the fourfold. The staying brings the four into the light of their mutual belonging. The four go together. Talking about the earth is talking about the sky, the mortals, and the divinities. Talking about the sky is talking about the earth, the mortals, and the divinities. Talking about the mortals is talking about the divinities, the earth, and the sky. Talking about the divinities is talking about the mortals, the earth, and the sky. The four are betrothed, entrusted to one another. The staying appropriates the fourfold. The fourfold is the onefold. Each of the four mirrors in its own way the presence of the others. It is a mirror play. The mirroring appropriates each of the fourfold. The fourfold is a round dance. We can talk about the fouring. The round dance is a ring. We can talk about gathering. If the event or the fourfold is called the world, we can talk about the worlding. If the event or the fourfold makes a thing as thing, we can talk about the thinging. The fourfold is the thingness of a thing. A thing happens as a thing when it lets happen in it the fourfold. This let happen is a gathering of a thing. A thing gathers in it the fourfold. It is in the thing Heidegger finds out the world as the fourfold of earth, sky, mortals, and divinities. The world or the fourfold is the event. The fourfold is not something fixed, like a stone, but an event. And, as we have said, the event takes place in man. Man responds to the voice of the event and the event happens in his relation to beings. Man realizes the occurrence of the event in things. We can have the opinion that, in our use of a thing, we do not see the earth, the sky, the mortals, and the divinities. Our opinion seems really correct. Even the philosopher of metaphysics do not see the fourfold. How about the ordinary people? We can say that not all things clearly stay the fourfold. But we live with the sky above and the earth below. In the sky there the divinities and the ruler of heaven. On the earth there are human beings. The most specific character of man is that he is able to die, therefore humans can be called mortals. We have a holding vessel. If we do not have the view of the earth, we do not have the view of holding. Holding is holding of something. When we have the view of the earth, we have the view of the sky. The earth and the sky go together. Holding is holding of water or wine. Water or wine is for man to drink. Wine is offered to the divinities. Men are on the earth and the divinities are in the sky. That is the framework of man's dwelling. If we take a chalice for example, the divinities appear more clearly. In the use of a vessel or a chalice is the appearance of the fourfold. If the sight of the fourfold does not happen in man, there is no vessel or chalice. The fourfold is four aspects of the one-fold. Christianity has the Trinity, the Book of Change has 64 hexagrams. Being or the way does not appear singly. Moreover, the folds do not appear equally, sometimes this fold is clearer, sometimes that fold is clearer. Therefore, at one place Heidegger says that divine presence is obstructed or even pushed wholly aside. Metaphysics looks at beings. Plato sees, besides material, the ideas or aspects of beings. A jug includes clay and the idea jug. Aristotle sees four causes: material cause, clay making the jug; formal cause, form oval of the jug; efficient cause, workman making the jug; the creator creating the universe; final cause, holding of the jug. One sees, besides material and form, categories and qualities. Those things are not false, but, according to Heidegger, they do not express jugness of the jug. Heidegger condemns metaphysics, thinks being from beings, and this is the origin of the forgetfulness of being. Does Heidegger not commit the same mistake when he starts from things? Heidegger thinks the fourfold happening in things, or, more correctly, in man's use of things, not from things. Heidegger does not see a table to pull out the idea table or categories and qualities relating to the table. The fourfold does not lie in the table. If we dissect the table, we do not find the fourfold. In other words, Heidegger is not realist. In the same manner, if we dissect man or his brain, we do not find the fourfold. Heidegger is not idealist. The fourfold lies in man's use of the table, but it does not belong to the table, neither to man. Chapter V. Truth. Truth is the disclosure of being. The disclosure of being is being itself. There is no being hidden behind its disclosure. The truth is being. Being happens in man's relation to beings. Being happens in man's realization of it. Because being happens in man's realization of it, the sharing of being to others is a necessity of the preciousness of being. If being brings man out of the domain of the devil, if being brings the peaceful dwelling, the sharing of being shows the benevolence to others. Confucius went on teaching without tiresomeness. Jesus knew he would be killed because his teachings, but he did not abandon his mission. If we cast away his return to heaven after his death, or in other words his death is his end, who else can accomplish such a deed? Being is considered a mystery or a concealment of itself. This statement can raise the idea that being lies somewhere outside man, and so the statement is contrary to the truth is being. Therefore, mystery or concealment of itself does not designate that being lies somewhere outside man. The statement indicates only that being does not happens truly yet. For example, in the history of metaphysics, being happens untruly as beingness. Beingness is being itself, but an untrue being. In the history of metaphysics there is no true being outside untrue being or beingness.